Story 1. Before smartphones, I accidentally sent an extremely detailed and inappropriate message meant for my girlfriend, now my wife, to the first contact in my phone, my friend Anne. It was very embarrassing, but I was glad she was my friend because the next contact was Anna, my grandmother, and I was not prepared to pretend to be dead at that time. Story 2. I accidentally sent a message to my supervisor which mentioned their incompetence. I was terminated and did not contest it. Story 3. Those automatic replies on Android can be frustrating. Someone shared something sad with me, and my thumb accidentally sent an automatic reply that said, "Great to hear." Story 4. Not me, but years ago when my husband and I were dating, he sent me a text saying, "I can't wait to be with you tonight." But it was not sent to me. It was sent to his sister. I am still embarrassed for him 15 years later. Story 5. I took a screenshot of a message from colleague A and sent it to colleague B with the comment, "Look at this person." However, I accidentally sent it to colleague A. Story 6. A voice message of me aggressively singing in the shower to my manager. I did not even know WhatsApp could do that. Story 7. Picture this. It is July 2024. I had just watched Deadpool and Wolverine for the first time. My love for Hugh Jackman is reignited. I am texting my best friend about how gorgeous Hugh's man chest looked oiled up, but I mistyped and sent a message to my family group chat saying, "Just saw Hugh Jackman's oiled up man chest. I think I am pregnant now." Story 8. I sent a very explicit message to my now wife when she was in nursing school. She showed her teacher and some other students something on her phone. I then showed her how to turn on the hide message on notification feature. Story 9. Not sexual, but I accidentally sent my DoorDash delivery person a copy-pasted rant text which included my name, my husband's name, and our daughter's name. I had written it for my unhinged mother-in-law. So that was great. Story 10. A screenshot of my mom calling me Baby Bear to my friends at work. I did not realize I made a mistake until we were playing Dead by Daylight, and one colleague said, "Don't worry, I'll protect you, Baby Bear." The silence was pure. I was in shock. Story 11. A certain video of my girlfriend and me was meant to be sent to her privately on Snapchat since it was filmed on my phone, but muscle memory caused me to post it on my private story instead. Let me say, I had a very angry girlfriend, many comments from my friends, and unfortunately, a very disturbed sister. Do not drink and send sex tapes. I am still embarrassed to this day, and yeah, never again. My girlfriend forgave me, though. Story 12. A few years ago, someone was stabbed close to my apartment. Around the same time, my dad won a pistol and offered it to me as a joke. I responded to his text asking if I wanted it by saying something like, "You are offering some pretty extreme protection against the recent rise in violence." However, I did not send that to him. I sent that to my boss. Story 13. That gif of someone squirting ketchup into a glass of milk, drilling a hole lengthwise through a hot dog, stirring the glass with the hot dog to really mix in the ketchup, then taking a sip of the drink through the hot dog straw. I sent that gem to my manager about 3 months after I started a new job. Story 14. I once accidentally sent a nude photo of myself to nearly everyone in my contacts list. Cost me a small fortune in postage. Story 15. I messaged a coworker when I was drunk that I thought she was very attractive and had great wheels, referring to her wheelchair. I mentioned wheels again in a separate text to be cheeky and confuse her. She teased me for weeks at work. We ended up dating for over a year. It was fun, but I definitely would not have sent the text sober, no way. Even though I knew we shared a similar sense of humor. Story 16. I took a photo of myself wearing only a thong to send to my friend with benefits who had moved away. I accidentally sent it to my supervisor. I received a text back saying, "Yes, let's meet up tonight." Story 17. I forgot what this was regarding, but when I was with my ex, I texted her, "I might ejaculate in my pants." When I meant to send that to my friend, it was definitely something sports related. The poor girl had her boyfriend text her that at 10 a.m. when she was at work, and she was like, "What?" Story 18. Sent a voice note complaining about my supervisor to my supervisor. I wanted to disappear from the planet for a solid week. Story 19. Sent a screenshot of my conversation with someone to the same person I was talking about. Instant regret. Story 20. Accidentally swiped right on a cute-looking femboy. We are now in a relationship, and I am apparently either gay or bisexual. Happy accidents exist. Story 21. When delivering for Uber Eats, I send a drop-off message which I have copied, so I can quickly paste it in the field and send it. It usually says, "Your order is at the door. Have a great day." One time, I forgot that I had copied other text and instead I sent, "Urine and feces are processed in the thigh pads." Story 22. I took a screenshot of a conversation to send to my friend to complain about the person I was talking to. I pasted it and hit send before realizing I had sent it back to the original person. The immediate cold sweat panic is a feeling I will never forget. Story 23. I was texting my best friend, completely overanalyzing a message from my crush. I wrote a long paragraph about what I thought he really meant and what I should say back. I hit send and then realized I had sent the entire cringy analysis directly to him instead of her. Story 24. I worked for a company in the investment industry and we had different investors for each fund. I was new and needed to send out the quarterly investment reports. Two of our funds had the number 1 in their names, and I accidentally got them confused and sent the wrong fund report to each investor group. The fund report included a list of all the investments we had made, the value at investment, current fund value, details of each company we invested in, and the size of the fund. I was absolutely mortified after this complete mistake. Story 25. I sent a screenshot to my friends of an older man who used to bother us. He was in the local newspaper complaining about the trash bins. I added, "Check out this old man, I thought he was dead." However, I accidentally sent it to a group chat with all the other store managers in my company and all the directors. I have never felt so instantly hot and sweaty in my life. Story 26. I took a picture of the bathtub to show my boyfriend that my bubbles had all melted. I went to my cousin's wife while texting both of them throughout the bath. I called her immediately, and she was laughing. We were both glad it was her and not my cousin. She said she did not think he would be able to look me in the face after that. Story 27. Sent my aunt a beautiful view picture from a trip with my boyfriend. However, I accidentally sent her a full-body nude picture of me in a G-string with a big grin on my face. She spared me the embarrassment. Thank God she was young once. Story 28. When I was in high school, I sent a sexual text to my driving instructor by mistake, meaning to text my boyfriend at the time. The next driving lesson was terribly awkward. Story 29. I sent an elderly relative, whom I do not know well, a screenshot of Lil Kim's "How Many Licks" picture. I did not realize my phone captured my music along with the screenshot I was trying to take. Story 30. I accidentally sent this lovely haiku to my mother-in-law and promptly went to sleep. I did not realize I sent it to her until the next morning when she asked if I had meant to send it to her. Story 31. I had to fill out a new emergency contact form at my old job because the company was updating the human resources software and wanted everything to be up to date. I put down my mother's details and contact information. Under the section Relation to Employee, I wrote "my mommy" as a joke. I scanned the form and sent it back but was too busy laughing with my team to notice my mistake. Then I received many emails telling me to recall the message. I clicked Reply All. We had over 300 employees worldwide. Story 32. I had a creative writing professor email the entire class his divorce settlement with the subject line, "Urgent, please read." He meant to send the updated syllabus. Story 33. I used to type rant texts to someone when they upset me and then delete them. I did this for years with no problem. One time my friend and I had a slight falling out. I figured I'd let it settle and we'd talk it out sometime later, especially because I had some things I wanted to say. That night I got drunk and she texted me. It wasn't hateful, but it incorrectly stated some things about the present situation that were not accurate. I typed a long message and was pretty mean in it. This was supposed to be my best friend, and she claims I never cared about her, so I ranted about how I had always cared about her, Even when she'd skip work to get high with her parents, when she pissed on my floor during a drunken bender, and how she is just like her parents despite wanting not to be. She won't see it and is now sitting back at her abusive ex's house. Instead of hitting space, I hit send. This was 3 years ago. I really miss her, but things got so misconstrued by both of us in the end, we probably both would just rather cut our losses and remember the good times. Story 34. I was being stalked by a former coworker. I was showing my brother her Facebook profile, and he accidentally liked the picture. Mortified. Story 35. I sent a photo in a family group of a friend puffing a joint like it was his last. I did not even notice until my brothers started laughing at me in the chat. Parents only dropped a scene, and that actually stressed me a lot. Later, we turned it into a joke. Originally, I wanted to send the picture in another group with friends, but I guess I was fried and did not even look at who I sent it to. Pretty embarrassing, if you ask me. I was about 18 when it happened. Story 36. I was joking back and forth with a coworker friend by email, and somehow the topic of clowns came up. I sent a response along the lines of, maybe they enjoy creating smiles and bringing a touch of wonder and whimsy to the world. Or maybe they are soulless freaks whose only means of achieving satisfaction is by devouring the fear of children and tasting their sweet tears of horror. Instead of having her email selected when I hit reply, I had selected a flagged for follow-up email from the Outlook task pane. Instead of emailing my friend, I emailed the controller of one of our major partners. I have no idea what they thought about getting that message out of the blue, but they never mentioned it in any of our future emails. Hopefully, they got a laugh. Story 37. I accidentally asked my former partner if she wanted to be my date to Mexico in October for a concert. The two names are unisex. She said no. Story 38. One time I was speaking negatively about someone and I sent the screenshot I took of our chat back to them. I played it off as if I was making sure they really saw what they said. Thankfully, they were foolish enough to actually believe me. Story 39. Sent a screenshot of someone talking trash to the person talking trash. I just closed my laptop and accepted my fate. Story 40. Back in 2015, I was the administrator for my university's Twitter account. I mistakenly had both my personal account and the university account on one Hootsuite account. I posted a political tweet criticizing Clinton on the university account. I caught it within 5 minutes and deleted it, but not before my boss saw it. They took that responsibility away from me, and by that time I was glad to be done with it. Story 41. Not accidentally sent per se, but misspelled and noticed the error after I sent it. It was a letter stating I will take their offer to leave the family. I signed off but misspelled my own name at the end. I am never going to live that one down. Story 42. During the time of COVID-19, I was checking my WhatsApp group from school. I was talking to my sister and said, "Our teacher is such an unpleasant old woman." Unfortunately, the conversation was being recorded, and before I could delete it, it was sent. To make things worse, I pressed delete only for myself. The teacher never confronted me afterwards. Story 43. During a random conversation about hunting and ducks, I accidentally sent the F word instead of ducks. I work at a church. Story 44. I texted a client a really wild sketch I drew of a gay couple I saw at an Aqua concert. I was on psychedelic mushrooms, which made their bitchiness and judgmental aura intensify. They reminded me of the secondary antagonists from The Land Before Time 2, the ones plotting to get eggs. Edit to add. I meant to send it to my girlfriend at the time who was at the concert with me. Once she received it, she immediately responded, "That's not what they looked like," proving she knew who was drawn with no explanation or other context, confirming that this is exactly what they looked like. Story 45. I did not say anything bad but accidentally sent my mom a text meant for my boyfriend when I called him sweetie. I am the last person you would think would call anyone sweetie or any other pet name. My whole family had a good laugh at that one. Story 46. I seriously did poorly on that difficult test. It was supposed to go to my best friend, but instead went to my teacher and my very strict mother. Story 47. A few years ago, I was arguing with my friend over text. I took a screenshot to send to another friend but accidentally sent it back to her. She became even angrier, and then I accidentally did it again. She blocked me, and I have not spoken to her since. I literally cringe when I think about it. Story 48. I have used Android devices and had a work phone that was an iPhone. I guess I kept doing something that indicated I disliked my bosses and likely other people's messages. I think it was some kind of swipe. Story 49. I luckily got it backwards. I sent a text meant for my boss to my girlfriend at the time. Luckily, she was very bad at communicating, so I was able to tell her about it when I got home, and she still hadn't read it. After this, I started color coding my text threads, and this problem has never happened again. Story 50. I accidentally messaged my father, "I love you," instead of my girlfriend. He messaged me back, "Did you call into work to have the day off?" I kept it up saying, "Yeah, they said get well soon." He messaged, "Thumbs up. I took that day off. Thanks, Dad. I love you." Story 51. Around a year ago, I went on a fishing trip to the Elk River in West Virginia. On the first day, I slipped on the rocks and, in an attempt to catch myself, my fingernail caught a rock perfectly. It bent the whole fingernail backward and separated it from the nail bed. It was nasty and painful. Upon arriving home, I thought it would be a good idea to share a picture with my friends. So I snapped a picture before getting in the shower and shared it in a group chat with 7 of my buddies. I was standing in front of the mirror completely naked, but my hand covered the lower half of my body in the mirror. Little did I know it was a live photo, and in the last frame of the short video, my private parts were exposed for all to see. I sent it without realizing, saying, "Guys, check out my finger." Half an hour later, I received a message from one of them saying, "That's not your finger." It didn't take me long to figure it out, and in a panic, I tried to delete the picture from the group chat. After researching, I found out it's possible to delete it if it's an iMessage group chat, which it was, unless someone saves the image. So essentially, one of my friends has that photo in their camera roll. Needless to say, my live photo feature has not been turned on since. Story 52. A video of me and my secret boyfriend to my family. We were just making a silly vlog for our friends, and I did not realize I had sent it in the family group chat. Thank goodness the video was taking a while to load because I was able to cancel the upload before it reached my family's phones. The panic attack I had was intense. For context, my parents would never approve of my boyfriend due to toxic cultural norms, and I would be disowned. I am working on a way to tell them that may include running away first. Story 53. A customer wanted the product we sell sent to a Greek island. It was unusual for what we do, but sure. However, I made a mistake and sent it to the billing address, which was literally Timbuktu. Story 54. Have you ever copied and pasted something, but it was never copied, so you sent your earlier copy to someone? Facebook Unsend was not an option back then. Story 55. Taking a screenshot of my ex's text messages wanting to talk. I was supposed to send it to one of my friends, but I accidentally sent it to her. Story 56. Pretty tame overall. I met with a vendor at work, and he had emailed, "It was great to meet you." I mistyped and sent back, "I was so nice to meet you." I meant, "It was so nice." But I still shudder thinking about not rereading my message, making me appear rude to this day. Story 57. Here's some backstory. When I was in school, probably in my sophomore or junior year, I had gym right at the end of the day. Being tired from the gym class before, and the entire day prior, I had no idea what I was doing. I was on my phone while everyone was getting changed, and I accidentally took a picture of myself and my friends changing. I panicked and frantically tried to delete it, but because I was so tired, I acted stupidly and accidentally hit the add to story button, posting it on my story. Luckily, I was able to remove it soon enough, but I remember how hard my heart was racing. Crazy day. Story 58. I sent a voice message in a school group chat. It said that I was really messed up, and I hoped I would not wake up. Story 59. I accidentally sent my photo to my professor that was supposed to be for my girl best friend. Since then, he has always been greeting me through private chat, but I have kept ignoring him. Story 60. At my job, someone did not log out of their email account, and I accidentally sent an email to management about how they were handling COVID-19. I was horrified when I realized I was in someone else's email account. Luckily, they did not lose their job over it. If I recall correctly, I emailed them to let them know what had happened. A few months ago, we had our morning huddle, which is basically a mini meeting with announcements and information about events going on in the building that day. One of the facilitators reminded staff to log out of their email accounts. I told this story to emphasize how important it is to log out. Story 61. Accidentally sent that graphic interchange format of Lucille from Arrested Development winking to a client instead of their invoice. Story 62. I accidentally sent the global positioning system coordinates of my house to a random person. I set up a shortcut on my phone using an application called Automate that creates a template for severe weather reports to send to my local National Weather Service office, with my current location and the current time and date automatically entered. When I was testing it, I tried to type in my own phone number, but I made a typo and sent the longitude and latitude of my home address to a similar number. Hopefully, it was an inactive number. Story 63. Once I accidentally sent a very personal text meant for my best friend to a workgroup chat. The silence that followed was brutal. Story 64. About 20 years ago, I worked in a call center. Our manager sent us a ridiculous email. I forwarded it, or so I thought, to my buddy down the row with the message, "What a dumb idea. God, this person is stupid." About 5 minutes later, I asked Chris, "Did you get my email?" He replied, "What email?" I told him, "The one I just sent." Nothing. I went to check and realized I had accidentally hit reply and sent it to her. Oops. I used the recall and replace feature in Outlook and hoped she never saw it. I never heard anything about it. Story 65. Sent an extremely flirty text meant for my recent girlfriend to a reporter for the news in my city. It was about getting pizza. I had his number because I often sent news stories from work. He jokingly flirted right back, but it was very embarrassing. Story 66. My mom thought "ol" meant lots of love. Her friend texted her to tell her that her son was in the hospital and things were not looking good. You can guess what her reply was. Story 67. I accidentally sent $2,000 extra to the bank during our daily deposit on the day I was leaving for vacation and had brought my bags to work. There was a middleman service involved, like Brinks, so it took several days for the bank to confirm the transaction. It looked extremely suspicious, and there was a meeting to decide whether to fire me or not. However, one of the managers bought me some time and said to wait for the bank to respond. Story 68. I sent a screenshot of the conversation to the person I was talking about. I have never panicked that fast in my life. Story 69. 6 years ago, I sent an ex a text reply after we had been broken up for 2 years because she would not stop texting me. I explained that we were not right for each other. Somehow, my reply included a sentence at the end, which I thought I deleted, saying that I still found her attractive and would still be interested in hooking up if no strings were attached. When I realized I had sent that to her, I felt like throwing up. It turned out to be a huge mistake that I am still suffering from. Story 70. A response to a difficult woman explaining why I messaged her. Nobody liked her, and she still searches for her high school friends to hang out with. Story 71. Way back in the day on AOL Instant Messenger, I was sitting in a room with my friend and the girl he liked. I meant to message him about her, but instead messaged her about her. Story 72. I was messaging one of my female friends on Facebook Messenger. I normally end my texts with hugs and kisses at the end. Only this time I accidentally typed .com right before I sent it, so it sent a preview of an inappropriate website. Story 73. After my divorce, I spent months calling and texting my ex accidentally. Sometimes my car seemed to drive itself to her house. Thank God she thought it was hilarious. She has known me for 15 years, so she totally believed it wasn't on purpose. Story 74. I was on a conference committee evaluating speakers for our keynote. We used an evaluation form after interviewing potential speakers. I interviewed a tenured, well-known professor who was horrible, boring, monotone voice, stuffy, and full of himself. I made all these comments on the evaluation form, which I then promptly faxed to him. He called me and, in a dry, condescending voice, went over every comment I made for an excruciating 5 minutes. He then burst out laughing, said he agreed with everything I said, and how refreshing it was to receive honest feedback. In the end, it all worked out, but it was uncomfortable for a moment. Story 75. I once was on a group chat, and it got a little heated, so I typed something like, "Shut up, bitch." But I accidentally clicked on someone else's profile who was also in the group chat. Luckily, I deleted the message, said wrong number, and then promptly sent it into the group chat. Story 76. I made a digital product, a Notion template, and someone contacted me to ask for information about it. I intended to send him the link to see the description or to buy it, but by mistake, I sent him the link to the product itself. He never messaged me again after that, which probably means he duplicated the template before I could delete the link. Story 77. Once, when I was in college, I sent a message to my cannabis supplier to ask about getting an eighth of an ounce. However, I did not message my supplier. I messaged my employer. Fortunately, she was understanding and did not mind, but it was still quite awkward. Story 78. My friend Michaela and her husband Francis had the same phone numbers since they were both in college. I had her husband's number since they were dating, just in case. I had him saved as Mickey's boyfriend. I never thought to change it because, at the end of the day, it's the same person. The girls' night group chat had an inside joke where we referred to couples as LC for loving couple. The joke evolved into using an L name and a C name when talking about couples like Lola and Cody, Lewis and Catherine, and so on. Francis sent me a message asking if I could help distract Mickey while he set up a birthday surprise for her. I texted back a long message saying, "I'm possibly the worst person to ask this favor of. I'm kind of a chatterbox. You could have asked Delia, Genesis, or Carla to cover for you. I love Mickey, but this isn't something I'm good at. If you wanted to be sneaky, I'm not the right person. I'll let the others know in case anyone else can help. But if you want secrecy, I'm not the person to ask. Everyone will know. Also, don't you think it'd be suspicious making plans when she has a husband at home waiting to celebrate her birthday? Think it through." I screenshot the message and sent it to the girls' night group chat, not realizing that my long text covered the message I was replying to, so the group chat had no context. I said, "Aw, Leon is so precious. I'm so happy for her that she found the one." The screenshot still showed the contact name, Mickey's boyfriend. I wish Michaela had seen it. A friend, Natasha, whom I didn't speak to much, screenshot the group chat and showed it to Francis while he was on his lunch break. He hadn't seen my reply and didn't know I still had his contact saved as Mickey's boyfriend. So to him, it seemed like I was giving some guy named Leon advice on which of her friends was better at hiding an affair. When he finally read my message, he replied, "Why did you send this to me and Leon? Sorting that out was a nightmare." Story 79. Complete gibberish in a reply all email on a company phone, because I did not lock the screen before placing the phone back in my pocket. People got a laugh out of it, and at least it was not something truly embarrassing. Story 80. Sappy song lyrics to my girlfriend, that's bad enough, but I accidentally sent them to a work email group that included everyone at the company. Story 81. I recently accidentally sent my ex a bunch of Discord gifs of a guy vomiting on himself because I thought I was sending them to a different person. I then panicked and blocked her. I hope she isn't mortified over that. Story 82. My friend decided to lose her virginity one day. I texted her mother as a joke, saying, "Your daughter is going to lose her virginity today." I took a screenshot and sent it to my friend for fun. I told her to send that message to her mother, but I accidentally sent the screenshot to my own father. Then I deleted it. Story 83. I once accidentally sent a drawing I did of Absorbing Man to a friend. It was nothing crazy, but he still thought it was cool. Story 84. I had 2 pandemic years working in a medical school as part of the COVID-19 team. I worked 10 to 11-hour days, overworked and tired while holding a second job. I was literally dreaming of work and would wake up exhausted. Apparently, I messaged our human resources manager, who is also a doctor, A bunch of gibberish while half awake after being woken from the work dream. Came out as I allsdagstum alkspst, because in my dream I was texting her back about our next team meeting. Thankfully, it was so gibberish that I was able to explain it as an accidental pocket or but text. A couple of years back, I had a roommate who was difficult. I texted my friend that I was not coming home and would be staying at my boyfriend's to avoid dealing with the roommate. That message got sent to the roommate, who was passive-aggressive for the rest of her lease with us. She was the last roommate I ever had. Story 85. I sent an email to my chief assistant, but it went to my actual wife instead. Boring, I know, but I can live with boring. The excitement I would have felt if I had intended to message a side girlfriend but sent that to my wife is something I can do without. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.